What's going on, you guys? This is Mixtape. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. If you guys are new, please like the video. Helps the channel grow. Please consider subscribing and leave me a comment about what you think about what I'm talking about. And plain and simple, right now I'm just showing off the Texans offense. As you guys know from the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about Deshaun Watson, about his time as a Texan, all things Texans, and everything relating to him trading. So if you guys will stick with me, we got a lot of things to talk about as far as it pertains to Deshaun Watson. And while I'm playing this game, as you guys will be seeing, I'll be playing in all Madden, doing the best I can with Watson to get the victory. I'm going to be playing all offense. I'll let the computer handle the defense. And I've already played about 3 games with him. And to be honest, not trying to talk bad because I know there's Texans fans that's probably going to watch this, but the team isn't that great. And it's a lot of times that Watson has to do everything in order for them to put any points up on the board. So without further ado, here starts the game. Alright, you guys, so slowly but surely I'm going to be filtering my thoughts on this trade possibility with Deshaun Watson, about the Texans history, about how I feel like the Texans operate, where his possible trade destinations are, what do I personally think about those trade destinations, and everything of that nature. So if you guys will stick with me throughout the course of this video, you guys will hear a lot of things that I have to say on it, and I think you guys will pretty much agree to an extent. If you guys have a different opinion, please feel free to put a comment. I'm not saying that my comments are perfect, but I definitely do think that I have some sort of an idea of why I have those comments. I mean, I'm biased. I'm not a Texan fan. I do like Watson. So let's go ahead and start on it. So first of all, as we already know, Watson hasn't been happy with the Texans for a while now. And I think if you really sit back and think about it, it's pretty justifiable why he's not happy. For instance, you know, they've traded away a lot of the better players that was on the team. And whether you want to say it's because of they didn't want to pay the money, they didn't want to hire the right coaching staff, whatever the case may be, you know, it's tough. That, to be quite honest, right off the rip, Watson is their first quarterback that's not white. And, you know, he's seeing it, as well as Andre Johnson had made a comment on it before, saying that if he was Watson, he would leave. Of course, if everybody knows, Andre Johnson, he decided to spend most of his career with the Texans. So with him doing that, I'm sure he understands a lot of what happened. Maybe he just wanted to be loyal. But I definitely think Andre Johnson at his best, he was a top 5, you could even say a top receiver, and they never gave him the proper amount of help. Like, there wasn't the help there for him. Think about those teams. He had 1, 2, maybe more years of Arian Foster being a great running back. Arian Foster got 1 rushing title. Andre Johnson was balling year in and year out. But really sit back and think about the quarterbacks that he had to work with. He didn't really have the greatest amount of quarterbacks to work with. He had He had Shaw, which was definitely the best. He had a time with Rosenfels. He had a time with, I can't even think of all the quarterbacks that he had. Houston in that department hasn't had the easiest time picking quarterbacks. And I don't want to make it seem like it's all Houston's fault, but at the same point, they have had talent and they didn't pay them. For instance, whenever they had the draft and they had that first pick, when they had a Richie Bush in the draft or Vince Young, they went with Mario Williams. And then when it's time to pay him the bag, they let him walk out the door to go to Buffalo. They had DeMeco Ryans, and I believe they traded him, and he ended up doing well outside of Buffalo. Outside of Houston. So they have a history, if you really sit back and think of just the Texans organization, of not paying their stars that they draft, or if you want to be more honest, not giving them help. And so they finally draft, in my opinion, a great quarterback in Deshaun. Deshaun has been a baller. You pull up his high school footage. You pull up his college footage. He beat Alabama. He was going at it with Alabama. And if you watch college and you know about college, you know that they are consistently one of the top teams, if not the best team. You can easily make a point that they're the best college team ever. Every year they constantly have some of the top talent, and they have one of the best, if not the best, opportunities to go and win the national championship. And while Watson was there, he took one and he did lose one. Then they drafted him high from, Clemson. He comes to the Texans and he has Hopkins. I don't remember who his running back was at the first year. And he shows his promise. He's going head up with Brady. When he went up to Foxborough to play New England, he's going right head up, toe-to-toe with Brady. That game was a great game. He had a lot of yards, and even though they didn't win, he showed something by playing top-notch with Brady. And that's tough. It's not too many people that can do that, especially in a rookie year. And as time goes on, you just had, when they played the Cowboys, they played great. They beat the Cowboys, and even though it wasn't, the biggest deal, it's a big deal in Texas, but he played pretty great. He's rushing. He's throwing the ball pretty accurate. He's making the right reads. He's had a lot of great moments as a Texan already. And the main thing that I see pretty consistent on what's being said about him requesting a trade is that he just wanted to have some sort of an idea or have a voice in who they would possibly pick up for a GM as well as the head coach. And the Texans couldn't do that. I don't know how they're run. I don't know why they did that. But I just think that if you think of basketball terms, they do that all the time. The Lakers, if LeBron and Anthony Davis think that there's a good player that they could possibly get that'll help gel the team, they do that. They'll talk to him. And I understand football is different, but if you have a clear superstar quarterback that is easily top 10 you could make the easiest argument for top 5, and you don't have the most talent for him. Why wouldn't you get his opinion on something? That to me is the most baffling part about it. Like before this, you have to think he seen Hopkins go, and they didn't get nothing in real return for him. They got David Johnson, who is well past his prime, and I want to say a pick for Hopkins. Hopkins is easily the best wide receiver in the game right now. I think there's a strong argument to be made that he's the top receiver. And whenever you let go of Hopkins, you don't give him nothing else because of all the picks that it costs you to get Watson. So I think as a business, Watson is really sitting back and thinking like they did awful last year. And Watson showed a lot of great promise, even with that terrible situation. They did awful, and I'm sure there was a lot of learning that went involved with that. But besides that, their pick that they should be getting in the first round, which is the 3rd pick, they're not going to get. It's going to Miami. So there's no help coming soon for him. So he's seeing that as he's going to be slowly creeping up to his prime, the only thing that's going to possibly happen is the same thing that just happened to Burrow this year. There's going to be possible injury because the line isn't great. He doesn't have too many weapons to use. And he sees what's going on. I'd imagine that his coach last year had a lot to do with it because he was the one that was running the show. But there had to have been a clearance from up top, I'd imagine, whether it be the owner or their GM at that time, or somebody else had to clear it. Like it just wasn't a Hopkins only, because they had Dwayne Brown, and he voiced out he didn't like what the head coach had to say, and they ended up trading him to the Seahawks for a bag of peanuts, essentially. They didn't get no real return, and then they turn around and make the deal with the Dolphins to get Kenny Stills and their left tackle now, and right at the end of the year, they let Kenny Stills walk. So it's not just, oh, we don't want Watson to have talent, but you guys aren't making smart decisions with what you guys are doing. And it's going to hinder this man's progress for years to come, because it's only so many times he's going to be able to run to get out of contact and run to throw somebody wide open and all of that. And even the Texans, one of the Texans, I'm sure, Hall of Famer at one point, J.J. Watt, he wants out. He was very vocal about what he felt about the organization and how players are. And the main thing that to me stuck out was that he just kept saying that, you know, I want an opportunity to win. I want an opportunity to win. He did go to the playoffs with the Texans, but even so, him going to the playoffs, they never went far. And I'm not here to cram on the Texans, but I'm just looking at it from a widespread situation. You know, they've had talent, so it's not like they never gave Watson talent. But they slowly taking it away, and they want him to stick around in a sense. And that's a lot to ask of your young quarterback to be successful with not a lot. And they don't have real cap money to go grab some great players, and they're not going to get a good pick for a while because of the picks that they gave up to get Watson. So I think that Watson just sees the wall. He sees it. He's like, man, I really, there's not much for me to do. There's no real talent going to come. I think it's better for me to move on and try and find my horizons outside of that. So outside of the Texans, I think legitimately anybody could use a Deshaun Watson because of his greatness. I mean, New Orleans, it would be nice for him to go out there to go with Kamara and Michael Thomas. I don't know what they would be willing to give up. Imagine him out there with that. Imagine him with the Cowboys with Zeke and Gallup and Cooper and a young CeeDee Lamb. The line isn't the greatest, but he would have weapons nonetheless, depending on what would have to be given up for him. Whatever the team is going to give up, they're going to give up a lot. But I hope that whatever situation he goes to, it'll be beneficial to where he can have some sort of weapons and they can be in a situation where there's a possibility to win now, playoffs at least, and let this man continue to grow rather than be held down by not having much talent around him. If I was the Texans, I would easily trade him to Jacksonville, get the first pick. You just got a new coach today from the Ravens. So you get the new coach, you give him Trevor Lawrence, and that's a whole new regime right off the rip. I think that would be an awesome play. That would be the only way I would trade him straight up for that first pick. That way you can be guaranteed to get somebody like a Trevor Lawrence. If you don't elect to do that, San Francisco would look real nice with Deshaun. They have some talent around there, but I think more so than anything, the system would make him awesome. That system will really work out for him. And I think that he could get an MVP or two. He may be able to go to the Super Bowl. Because if they went to the Super Bowl without Garoppolo really doing much, imagine a superstar quarterback behind a system like that. He could go to the Colts, and they could do work. I don't know. They was talking about they wanted a veteran. But the Colts have some solid pieces. I mean, Phillip Rivers just made them look good. So I definitely think Watson could do something with him. Maybe he could go home to Atlanta, and being from Georgia. They have Julio. Calvin Ridley's a top guy. And I definitely think that he could be pretty productive out there. I mean, any team that doesn't have a solidified quarterback should look at possibly trading for Watson. Even if you don't do it, give it an opportunity for you to get somebody like him. Because for you to have a superstar quarterback, and I keep saying that because that's what I believe he is, and I only think that the ceiling is up for him. For you to have a superstar quarterback like him, it's only going to help your team for years to come. And the best part is he's already going to get paid. He's already down for a contract. So it's not like you have to worry about clearing cap and all of that. Once you make your trade, you have him, and you surround him with pieces that is going to help him win. I think the skies is up for Watson. But my main rant on this whole situation is that I just think that the Texans in general has messed over a lot of players where they could have possibly had some grace. I mean, there was even reports that Peyton Manning, before he wanted to be a Bronco, wanted to become a Texan. And they didn't let that happen for whatever their reasons was. So I had fun playing this game against the Eagles. I played again like 3 other games. One against the Vikings. One against the Bears, I want to say. And I want to say one against Denver. And because of the line not being effective, a lot of times I ended up losing. I didn't do the best, as you guys can see. I did everything I possibly could to make them look good. 14 of 19, 2 passing touchdowns. I did throw 3 picks. But the running game was ineffective, really, because I had to run a lot with Watson. Look at that. David Johnson got 9 more yards than your quarterback. And I just had to pitch and catch with Cooks, Fales, Fuller, and Johnson. So these are my opinions. Please leave a comment and let me know what you guys think of it. A like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new, consider subscribing. This is Mixtape, and I'm out, you guys. Thank you guys for listening to me. Take it easy.